Hello there, this is Patricia from Pinky's World. I'm giving you a sneak preview of a box that will be up on YouTube next week, but it's a present I'm making for my mother-in-law, and I wanted to make a matching card. So that is the tutorial I'm doing for you today. It's a diamond-shaped easel card. It's a mouthful, isn't it? But it is a beautiful card. It really is a lovely wee card, and I wanted it to match perfectly to my nice box. So you catch that box on YouTube on Wednesday, next Wednesday. So this is the card we're doing, and as I say, I think it measures 6 inches. So you're going to need a 6-inch square envelope for it. Yeah, 6 inches you should get that into 6 inches. Yep. So there is a lot of tutorials for these out on YouTube, and I actually watched a few myself, but they were all using, as usual, the 12 by 12 card. And you know, I want to be able to do things out of the ordinary A4 card, so I readjusted everything, and that's the tutorial I'm showing for you. Inside there's a nice wee verse, there's some lovely bits of embossing. I have used Good Morning Magnolia for the whole card, and the papers are from the Brights. No, these, yes, Brights or else Subtles, one or the other, I can't remember, but it'll be in the list below. So I wanted to show you how to do one for Christmas this time. This is the box. This is another of the boxes that I made for next week, and I want to make the card to match this. So I'll be using the Poinsettia Petals. I'm using the same embossing folder. I know there's a couple of you got it last year, the Country Floral one. I think it was on offer during Celebration, but then they kept it in the catalogue. I'm not sure if it's still there yet, but it's a gorgeous one. And the Poinsettia Petals is just amazing. I love this set. I'm sure I've tortured you with too many things from, but that's what we're using. So let's get to it. To start, you're going to need, now this is not using the 12 by 12 as I said, so you're going to have to do it in sections. So your first piece is going to be 5 3/4 inch wide, 5 3/4 inch deep by the width of your A4, which is 8 1/4 over here. So one piece that size, and then one more wee bit to go with it. And it needs to measure 5 3/4, but only 4 inches deep. And we're going to attach this to that extra 1/4 of an inch. And if you just line it up, if you have a grid paper or whatever you use lined up, I don't want to put a score in it because it might show through. So I'm just going to run a bit of glue. Where is my glue? Where are you gone? Here. So I'm just using wet glue. You could use a piece of sticky tape or whatever you fancy yourself. I'm just going to use the ruler as a guide to butt the other wee piece up. So just get your second piece, keep that in line, and pop it on there so that all the edges line up, and that gives you what you would have got from your 12 by 12 paper. So it's 8 inches, we've taken away 1/4, and the extra 4 gives you the 12. Simple as that, and isn't that good to be able to do that rather than having to buy a whole packet of 12 by 12 paper, which is probably a curse to store. Like, I do have some of it up there, and I keep it for making like big boxes and things like that. But I generally don't buy a lot of it. When I first started in Stampin' Up, I did buy a few sets, and I ended up not using them and cutting them down. So what's the point? So that's what I do. So now we need to do our scoring. And there's not a lot of scoring to it. Like, we're going to try and keep the join to this end here. So we're going to have a scoring like so, hopefully. Hopefully, famous last words will probably end up where I don't want it. So you want to score it at 3 inches and 6 inches. So just line it up. 3 inches, 6 inches. And then you want to mark it. We know that ours is 5 3/4. It isn't 6. The other cards are 6 inches wide. I wanted to keep it narrower so I get it into my envelope okay. So you need to mark it at 2 7/8. Just here. I'm actually going to use a wee narrow bit. a wee point there, and do the same at the other side. 2 7/8, and then we're going to be cutting it down to the score point. I think I haven't scored this enough. 3 inches and 6 inches. No, I think that's fine. So we'll do our folds. And that's where that's going to sit, like so. But we need to cut our folds, and both of them need to be cut to this mark here. So just fold your card in half and get whatever you're using to chop it off. I am going now. Don't be annoyed about the wee bit there. That is where you've joined your paper, and you're never going to get it perfectly, but the fold coming from the other edge keeps you right. So line that up with the score, the center score, and bring it down to this 3-inch score here. So you're lining those up so to get a good cut, and we're just chopping right through the two of them. Back in, line it up from your score mark up there down to this point. So it just takes a wee bit of fiddling about to get it right, and that gives you your diamond shape. So now we need to decorate it, and I'm just keeping this to keep me right. We're going to do this piece here, and it's have embossed it, and the piece of card that you need for that measures 2 6/8 by 5.5, so it just fits in perfectly in there. Now you don't have to emboss it. You can do a piece of the basic colour and then put your DSP over the top of it if you wanted. I thought the extra texture from the embossing just added a wee bit of niceness to it. So I'm just going to stick that on. I'm putting the right bit on here because of the embossing, because a lot of it will just sink in there. So just line that into the center. Oops, move up. And so you can use any embossing folder. They have a nice snowy one, or Christmas hollies, or whatever you have is going to add nice texture to it. So we need to do our squares, which will be diamonds. So you need 2 pieces of card, and they both need to measure 3 7/8 by 3 7/8, and then you need your DSP or fancy paper, whatever you want to call it, and it needs to be 3 5/8 by 3 5/8, and we're just going to simply stick one on top of the other. We'll come out glue. The glue's running down. And it's not going to work. I'm trying to use the empty one now. Try this one. So you've cut 2 of these, 2 of each. 2 reds and matching DSP. I'm matching mine up just to the box, just so that it all looks nice together. It's nice to make wee sets at this time of the year. So just do the same to your other piece. Glue your DSP to your square. So that's them all glued together, and now we need to pop it onto here and just fiddle about till you get, I would line both points up with your score line there. That on crooked or straight or what, but we're only gluing it at this side, so remember to do that. So the simplest way is to line that up again on your card to the points where you're going, and just put your glue there. And then just line it up. Oops, let me think. Slippery. Come on. Get that excess glue off before it looks horrible. And of course I'll have moved that in the meantime. So that's basically it. It's going to sit up now. Just make sure there's nothing stuck to the back. And that's going to be your first prop. So we need to do inside now. This one is just going to sit flat here. And you have also these two pieces, which is going to be your insert, more or less. So it needs to measure, the red one needs to measure 2 3/4 by 5 1/2, and the bit of Whisper White for stamping on needs to measure 2 1/2 inches by 5 1/4, and it's going to sit in there nicely. I'm going to do the stamping later. I'll not keep you. There's lovely sentiments in that particular set of the Poinsettia Petals, so I'll definitely get something there. Just line that up. And before you stick your Whisper White down, you might want to decorate around the edges. Entirely up to you what look you're going for. This one is just going to sit right on top of that. And you can see our join line there. But these wee panels are going to sit in here, and you're not going to notice that at all. It's going to be well covered, you know. I mean, you're going to see a join no matter what. That's the whole thing of using the 12 by 12. But that wee tiny join there does not catch my eye at all. And when you decorate this up, it's going to be great. So you just want to make sure that you're leaving space there so that you're not interrupting that fold at all. So it's good that you're down slightly. So we'll glue this one first. And you can glue it completely flat. Make sure this is running the same way. Actually put it this way. It's a good thing about using that collage glue. Lets me slip about the place till I'm happy with where it is. So then stick your wee emboss. That wee triangle was actually a piece of card, 2 3/4 inches. No, sorry. A piece of card, 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. Piece of square card left over. You'll get all this out of one sheet of the red. And then just cut it in half diagonally and run through the embosser. So we'll stick those, and that gives it another nice wee eye-catching bit of texture. That embossing folder is really lovely. So line that up where you want it. Keep it all in line up here, and then line along there, and the same with this one. And I think that's all for that. So we need to decorate it now. So for the inside, I have stamped one of the flowers. I haven't done any of the leaves on the inside. It's just this big flower here. So I'm just going to stick it along the bottom. I have Warm Wishes, which will go here, and that's going to be my stopper. So we'll want that to sit about, what way does that look best? I'm not even sure, you know, maybe that way. I'm just sticking it flat anyway. I'm not raising it up in case it catches on anything, but I'm sure you could get away with some raise there if you felt like it. This one is going to line up so that I can put that from red tip to red tip. And I'm actually going to raise that up again on dimensionals. Goodness me. So just run about 4. And that gives it a good wee stopper then to hold your diamond up. put them in the tin, and I'd know where they are. So warm wishes from our house to yours. And that's stuck there, so I'm going to stamp there, and then on the front I have made up my flower here, which is going to match the one exactly on the box. Just need to add a bit of Wink of Stella, and you just run it across easily. Now on the back I want to put a bigger dimensional, find them, and just use that to build the leaves onto the flower. So this has been cut out in Whisper White, stamped in real red, and then coloured in with the real red blends. That's a mouthful, isn't it? So these are done with Granny Apple Green and a wee bit of Old Olive, and just stamped in Memento, and I'm just going to pop those leaves so the tail is catching to that. Just don't press them on until you see the look of it yourself, so that you can play around and keep them sort of marginally equal. Oops. There's 4 there, and then this one's going to go on the top. And I'm not sure if I'm going to get the bottom one in because of the sentiment, so I might just leave it like that. So now that we have those on, we can stick another dimensional to cover those, and that'll hold those in so they're not going to go anywhere. Just put it directly over the top, and then you can stick that on. Just make sure you have that sitting where you're happy before you put your flower on. There would be fine. And then you can actually put dimensionals on that too if you wanted to raise it up again, just in case it gets lost behind the flower. And for the sentiment, I've just stamped it in red, cut it out roughly around the shape of the font, and did the same for the bit of red underneath, just to make it less square. And then we're just going to pop that underneath there. Go down a wee bit, I suppose it'll not matter if it's tipping over. And that's it done. So didn't need the leaf. I don't think it needs it. It's fine without it. So that's your wee diamond fold card, and it's going to match your lovely gift box perfectly. So isn't it nice to have everything all matching, and you know, you can put candles, chocolates, whatever. I have this one filled, absolutely brim filled. I'll just show you now with a chance to see it. As I say, this will be, like, it's just a belly band is all it is. And the matching paper, I'm going to kill that woman with chocolate. They're 3 deep, 369, 12 bars of chocolate. But that's her favourite chocolate, and when hopefully she gets her wee friend to be able to visit her again, they do share them over a wee cup of coffee. But at the minute we are only allowed our bubble people to come into the house, which is a bit annoying for an 81-year-old, you know. She has 6 youngsters, and they all take turns at visiting, so she does get a wee visit. But there you are. Hope you like them. Hope you'll give them a wee go. And I think they're equally beautiful. They really are. They're just lovely. And to fit into a wee 6-inch square envelope, they're perfect for posting, whatever. So that's me. I hope you enjoy it. And have a wee go. And remember, we'll pop you up into the thing. And I'll have a wee draw at the end of each month to see who win a wee prize. So thanks for joining us. And I'll catch you all later. Bye.